Hi, this is Timothy Carroll and Carroll Consultancy Group, and today we have with us Matt Wallden. Matt is trained as an osteopath and naturopath in the 1990s, completing a BSc Honours, and later a Master's in Osteopathic Medicine. He then went on to train in the Czech Institute between 2001 and 2005. Matt has worked with clients such as Chelsea Football Club and consulted to other Premiership football teams, as well as with elite athletes from multiple disciplines. Good stuff, Matt. Matt travels the world teaching for the Czech Institute and presents his own materials to audiences of diverse backgrounds, from young school children through to highly trained medical professionals.
Then of course you can look at the actual content of what you're eating, and that's obviously critical because there's the old premise that you are what you eat, and that can be also refined a little further to you are what you don't excrete. So in other words, you could be eating well, but you might not be processing it, and so this is where you need a little bit more technical expertise. And so one of the screening tools that we use is called a health appraisal questionnaire, and that helps us to understand more about how the person is digesting and which components of their digestive system might be compromised. And so essentially, like I say, if you are what you don't excrete, then essentially that's whatever you keep in the system. Okay, so if for example the stomach's not working so well, that makes it much harder to digest proteins. If the small intestine isn't working so well, that also is proteins, but it's more fats and carbohydrates. If the gallbladder is not working so well, it's very difficult to digest fats. So we can screen those kinds of things to make sure the actual system is doing what it should do. And then of course the foods that you eat themselves are going to influence that as well. So if you're eating, let's say, a standard American diet, which is fairly heavily processed and pre-packaged, well, then there's a lot of preservatives in that kind of a diet, because it has to have preservatives, because it has to have a good shelf life. It's often not so fresh, of course, and that's why it's got the preservatives in it. It often has fats in it that aren't so helpful, and can create irritation and inflammation in the system. Often has high sugar, because one of the things that the food manufacturers know is that if you put sugar into anything, in fact, when you look even in meats, you'll find there's sugar added to the meat because it makes it more addictive, more palatable, and so people go back and buy more meat. So these are the kinds of things that can certainly impact on how you digest, and also then how your body responds to what you're eating.